So in this final video for the advanced surfaces and wireframes with the design of the chair, we're going to look at a few editing options for the chair surface before making a solid out of it, and then some ways to join the chair to or the surfaces of the legs, the leg structure that's been made. So you'll note that here we have a loft surface, which it has a relatively low number of isoparms. You see the cross lines. In fact, there is only one isoparm per curve that originally created it. If we compare that to the sweep surface, which is here, and if I click on that, you'll notice that it has a lot more isoparms, that what happens in a sweeping operation is that Rhino is interpolating between the cross-section curves and fitting the surface perhaps in a more precise way to the cross-section in the middle, but in a much more complex way. If we were to turn on the control points for this swept surface, and that's the control points on here on the left, you'll notice that its grid of control points, I'll hide the loft for a minute, it has a lot of control points, so pretty hard to edit using the movement of control points in a kind of free way. Instead, what I'm going to do is show the loft, and I'll turn off the sweep layer. And if we compare that with turning on the control points for the loft, you'll see that there are far fewer control points. And that makes this a pretty straightforward and rewarding surface to edit with control points. So for instance, I can select the bottom center line control points. If you see in the upper right, just the two in the seat of this. You can see them in the right-hand window as well. And I'm going to take just those two control points, and I'll start to move those around. And what I'm doing is adjusting the kind of the sag in the seat, right? So you can see as I move those around, the seat gets flatter, or it gets a kind of deeper butt, as you can see that in the right-hand view. So this gives you the ability to control things both in the kind of depth of the curvature of the seat, like that. We can also select a different set of control points, like all the ones at the top, and we can start to move those up or back or forward to have the seat lean less far back, more forward. And as long as you select these control points in logical groups and move them in a view with a construction plane where they're not going to go wonky and go all sideways on you, you'll have a really good way to control these. Remember that we could also, if we wanted to, let's say, widen the top of the chair by taking that set of control points and using a scale command, or in fact even the gumball. And the gumball in this case is applying itself to the edit points, not to the surface itself. So I can use this to radically widen the top of the chair if I want to. Turning control points off, hitting escape, I can also then click on the surface itself, and similarly I can use the gumball to scale the entire surface front to back, or if I need to get it to sit properly on the base, I can also use this to rotate it forward and back. So the use of this gumball, I want to reinforce again, is very important, but it will have a different effect whether you're manipulating the seat surface itself or a set of control points on that surface, which can themselves be manipulated with the gumball. So I'm going to leave that there and go into the last portion of this. We'll take the surface once we have what we want. I can turn gumball off, and we're going to make a solid extrude surface straight and give it a dimension. In this case, I've said 0.35 inches, which is less than 1/2 of an inch. And so now we've extruded that that surface into a solid. Right now, the solid that we've made exists on the surface's layer. I can select it and change its layer to the solids of the chair. And then I can select the surface that I created, making sure that it's still on the loft surfaces layer. And I'll go back to my layers and I'll turn off the loft. I'll make the solids the active layer. I'll turn off other layers here. And so now I have a chair base and a chair surface as two solids. Actually, the base is a series of solids. And you'll notice on the base that I created it with a series of posts that come straight up from the top of each leg for the purpose of being able to attach it to the chair. These might be threaded connectors or a place for a bolt to go. Whether it's exposed or hidden, wouldn't make a huge amount of difference. But we do want to take these now and trim them off. And instead of using a trim command, as we would with surfaces, we're going to use a Boolean command and talk a little bit about Booleans as the last part of this exercise before you take off and start making your own chairs and a chaise lounge. We're going to use some solid edit tools. We're going to be using a Boolean split to cut off the top of these pegs using the seat. So it wants the surfaces to split, or polysurfaces in this case, and we'll select all four of these extrusions and hit return, and it wants to know the cutting surface. We'll select the top, and we'll now see when we start to select things here that these little nubs on the very top can be deleted. The bottom of this is trimmed off to the bottom of the chair surface. But there is also a little piece of this present in the top surface, which we could also delete, or we could leave it there if we wanted to express little sort of buttons as a detail on the top of the chair. I think for my purposes, I want to keep those there as little buttons so that they will show up when we render this. And so now we have a complete chair with a thin shell seat and a nice wireframe base that you could put by the side of the pool and you could imagine relaxing in. Instead of relaxing, your job is to create at least one chair like this and one chaise lounge, something that is about 6 feet long, low to the ground, that you could lean back on and get some relaxation and tanning. So this is the end of the videos for the chairs exercise. I hope that you have fun creating interesting chairs to share on your blog and to show in class next week. Thank you.